If you've been diagnosed with lumbar spinal stenosis and are doing exercises that are feeling good, rounding and stretching your lower back, you'll often find that they're not actually making you any better. You'll find in many cases they're actually making you worse, and you're not alone. That's because when it comes to spinal stenosis, the most common advice out there often leads people in completely the wrong direction. Movements like hugging your knees, like bending forwards or getting into child's pose, and sciatic nerve flossing often bring temporary relief, but they're frequently worsening the very injury that's at the root cause of the problem in the first place. If you're new here, welcome. I'm Michael Fatika, the lead osteopath and spine specialist here at Back in Shape. We help people around the UK and all over the world fix their back pain from home and get back in shape for the long term. And with that in mind, let's clear up today the misunderstanding around spinal stenosis and start talking about what it really is, what's causing it, and more importantly, how you can actually recover with the right kind of stability exercises. So firstly, what is lumbar spinal stenosis? At its core, this just means narrowing of a hole. In the spine, it typically refers to either the central canal, where the spinal cord runs through, or more commonly, the foraminal canals. These are the little holes at the side where the little nerves exit the spine. Think of these little ones like the motorway off-ramps. In the lower spine, these nerve roots are going to go on to form the sciatic nerve. So when you hear things like lateral recess or exit foramina or central canal stenosis, those are just locations of which hole is narrowed in the spine, and it's not talking about the cause. And that's the key here, because spinal stenosis is not the injury itself. So if stenosis isn't the cause, what is? The majority of cases of narrowing are really due to some damage or deterioration of the disc on the front part of the nerve tunnel, or it's going to be the facet joint on the back part of that same tunnel. But most often, we're talking about some sort of disc bulge, some sort of herniation, or degradation that builds up over time and that can compress or irritate that nerve as it passes through. Other things like ligamentum flavum hypertrophy or facet joint changes can all contribute, but almost frequently they're going to occur alongside the disc damage. This is because the reality is that the whole segment works and moves together, and we can't really separate out one specific area or another. So here's the problem. If all that you're told is that you have stenosis, which basically means a smaller space, the logical reaction is trying to make the space bigger. And how do most people go about making this space here bigger? They just bend forwards, they hug their knees, they do nerve flossing. And sometimes, yes, it feels good in the moment, but this relief is so often misleading. So why is this relief a trap? Let's say you have a disc herniation that's narrowed the hole down here where the nerve exits. As you go to bend forwards, you are temporarily opening up the hole where that nerve is coming out. But this places more strain on the disc that is actually injured, as well as the other ligaments that stabilize that particular segment. These are the tissues that are responsible for limiting that forward bending, and the same tissues that are actually injured trying to knit back together. So what happens? That disc that is trying to heal is becoming irritated. Think of this just like if you're picking a scab. That irritation then causes more inflammation to be driven straight back in to these spaces here. The inflammation crowds out that nerve space, creating more irritation, creating more pain, giving you the feeling that the nerve is blocked again, and now you're just back in that vicious cycle. The more you try and bend to relieve the pain, the worse your disc becomes. The more inflammation builds up, and round we go. So what do you do instead? Rather than chasing temporary relief by bending forwards, we need to start to protect the injured structures by keeping the lumbar spine stable and preventing it from moving, and learning how to move in a way that actually supports and protects that region. This is where spine stability training comes in. When we talk about stability, we're not talking about doing crunches, we're not talking about doing planks. We're talking about training the body to hold your spine steady, especially in that neutral lumbar position, even when your limbs are moving. This mimics how your body is being used every single day, especially when you choose the right sort of exercises. Now, 2018 study linked down in the description looked at people with lumbar spinal stenosis and compared core stability exercises to stretching and flexion and forward bending based routines like those that are so commonly recommended. And the results were very clear. The core stability stability group had significantly greater improvements in pain and function. And the reason for this is that spine stability works. It's simple. These exercises help reduce the micro movements that are irritating the disc on a daily basis and stabilizing those ligaments. These movements teach your body how to perform everyday movements whilst safeguarding your injured spine. So integrating that skill into the real world. And they give your spine the time that it needs to actually go through a healing process because you're not irritating it all the time. Because you have to remember, it's not just about pain relief, as important as that is. It's about actually stopping the irritation that keeps triggering more inflammation so that your back can get the time it needs to actually heal. And by reinforcing that neutral spine and controlling your movement, you're actually addressing the root cause of your stenosis symptoms, not just chasing around for momentary relief, finding it's taking longer and longer to get that same relief, and the relief is lasting less and less. What this looks like in practice, exercises like the dead bug, marching bridge, step up, hip hinge, and squat. These exercises we commonly refer to as the core 5, and they're all designed to hold that spine nice and stable while introducing controlled movement to the body. And here's the hidden benefit that if you've got stenosis, you really need to hear. You'll actually find that you get more feedback than the average person, especially for some of these exercises. For example, those that involve the potential for twisting, the potential for arching movements. You'll be particularly sensitive to these. So when you accidentally, during a dead bug, allow your spine to arch, or a marching bridge to twist, or a step up to bend to the side, you are going to feel it a little bit more. And yes, it's not fun, but it is helpful. It means that you're less likely to cheat and push through these reps with bad form without realizing it. That being said, you have to watch out for one of the traps, and that is the squat. It's very common for people with stenosis to round their back when squatting. It feels good because, again, it opens up those spaces where these little nerves are coming out. And so when you're learning this exercise, you might get away with incorrect technique. But if you keep squatting that way, you are going to be reinforcing the very pattern that's keeping you from actually getting better. What's worse is that these exercises are used to rebuild the strength of the spine itself. And if you don't get the foundations right, you're going to really pay for it dearly later on when you're starting to do the more progressive rehabilitation. So do not fall for it. Squat with your spine in neutral, even if it feels a little bit odd. Use video to record yourself, and if you've not seen it, the tape test video can be a great tool to help you refine this exercise. You can check out the link down below. Ultimately, your goal with spinal stenosis recovery is to stop aggravating the disc by stabilizing your spine in everyday life. You want to strengthen the muscles around your spine to give greater protection in everything you're doing from one day to the next. And finally, you want to build strength literally back into this disc as it heals, so you can restore long-term resilience, reducing the risk of future back injuries. And so if you've been diagnosed with lumbar spinal stenosis and you've been focusing on stretching, on nerve flossing, on rounding your back and hugging your knees for relief, it's time to shift gears. Remove those bad habits. Focus on building stability and learn to move in ways that support the healing process, not irritate it. It might feel counterintuitive, especially to start, but it works, and you'll be all the better for it in the long run. And if you need any more help with doing this, check out the many resources such as tutorials and detailed videos on the website, as well as the YouTube channel. And of course, we have the program for a more structured support plan and strategy to get better for the long term. If you made it this far through the video, thanks so much for watching. Let us know down in the comments what you found most helpful about this video. We read and reply to them all, so thank you. See you in the next one.